From classrooms to the field, truth and laughter both revealed. Tune in for that special feel. Nampa School's always real. Welcome to Nampa, where dreams can grow. Matt and Tyler on the show. Welcome to Nampa, where dreams can grow. Matt and Tyler on the show. Welcome to Nampa, hear the beat. Join the podcast, take your seat.
All right, welcome into episode number 5 of season 2 of the Nampa School District Podcast. My name is Tyler Keefe, and with me, as always, because it's just how it works.
Thanks.
Yeah, well, I was trying to think of something better, but that's really all I had.
No, that was great.
You know, the one, the only Matthew J. Sizemore.
Well remembered, sir. Pleasure to be here, and thanks for having me. Because what did you say? Because I have to be here.
No, you're just here as always.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, thanks for having me in the fantastic intro. I'm excited. We have an awesome episode today of the Nampa School District Podcast. Of course, brought to you by CapEd Credit Union. CapEd, it's more than banking; it's making a difference. Thanks so much to CapEd, as always, for being our title sponsor here on the Nampa School District Podcast. Two, let's say, big hitters here, biggest hitters, if you will, of the Nampa School District. We've got Superintendent Dr. Gregg Russell, as well as, and I think I got this down now finally, Assistant Superintendent of Operations, Cortney Stauffer, joining us. Was that right?
That's right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks for being here, gentlemen.
Yeah, no, thanks, Matt. I mean, it took 26 episodes for me to get on at one point, and now I'm within 5 of season 2, so I feel like I'm making some progress here. So thanks for allowing me to come on again.
Of course.
I thought I might not ever get back on again, so it feels really good.
Well, we allow Matt. He's in charge of the guest list.
Oh, am I?
I just do everything behind the scenes. So
I just learned this.
yes.
I actually want to go back to that intro music. Can we get that beat again on maybe somewhere on Spotify or iTunes so that we can play it?
Oh,
just
we
in the
could
background?
release that.
That was pretty good.
Could we?
Wake
I
up.
don't know.
Matt and Tyler, I like it.
On the show.
Yeah.
Jeez, it's so...
Here we go.
It is catchy a little bit. Well, a lot to go over today, gentlemen. We could start with going over that song, but no, let's not do that anymore. Let's jump.
Probably good. That's probably good we don't.
Yes, yeah, this time. We are about a month into the new school year now, and granted, I guess I'm not technically new guy anymore, but this is I'm about a year and a half in. I feel like the start of this year has been absolutely glorious. Just going around to school, seeing teachers, kids, everybody just seems happy. Everything seems to be running so smoothly. How do you guys see the first month so far?
Yeah, I think you summed it up perfect, Matt. It really is happy teachers, happy kids. And, we walked through our schools the first several weeks, went through as many classrooms as we can, and that's what we continually saw. And I talked with staff. I'd pull staff aside, like, hey, how's the year going? How's the year started? How was your summer? And everyone had said, this is the best start of the school year we've had in years. And
Nice.
that was consistently over and over, whether that's high school, middle school, elementary, just saw that. So really pleased with that. And I think that's a testament to the work that we see from our teachers and our administrators who spent the summer. A lot of the folks, maybe our community, don't see how much time is put in over the summer to kind of get the school year started. Really proud of that, and just happy kids.
Yeah, I agree. As we saw the beginning of this year, it just seemed to be a lot more in tune with what we are accustomed to. And then beyond that component of people being happy in their places, I think that was overall the writing theme that we have seen as we've gone into schools.
Yeah.
Another thing that I noticed as well, we also just have really, really nice class sizes this fall. I think that's kind of a testament to all the work that we put in a couple of years ago around redrawing boundaries and trying to balance out our schools. In the past, we'd have some classes where you'd have very small classes, but then you had some really large classes. And I think what I saw walking through each classroom, each school this fall, first couple of weeks of school, was just a pretty solid uniform kind of size classroom. And I think that really helps our teaching staff as well. It's harder when you have big class sizes. And so I think that also contributed to the really start the school year as well. A nice smooth one there.
Yeah, one thing I was going to mention is obviously there were a lot of changes at the beginning of last school year, and sometimes it's hard for people to adjust to that. I mean, it's hard for people to adjust to any change in general, but to see the fruition of that now in the next year has been very cool to see. Everything, like I was saying, just seems smoother now, and it's like we see those changes and what they were meant to do, and it's really worked out.
I think that's very well said. I think all the things that we looked at, we knew last year was going to be tough just because it had so many changes. Mm-hmm. But we also knew that we had the possibility of having everything run and be smoother for all components of our district. And I think that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing the fruition of that. And again, it goes back to the work of our administrators and our teachers and how well they have responded and put into play all of the things that they needed to do to have a successful environment for our students.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think jumping on what Cortney kind of said, our purpose was to not have as many changes this year, and it really was to, if we're going to make changes, and we have to do that at one point for the system, and then so that we could have a smoother kind of operating. And I think we're seeing that this fall.
Yeah.
Well, one thing with that, kind of going back in time a couple of years ago, we ran the 2023 Replacement Supplemental Levy, which is a mouthful to say. And it's kind of a misnomer because it's a supplemental levy, but it's really essential. And in 2023, we had a lot of things that we went out for. It was, $14.8 million for 2 years, or each year for 2 years, I should say. And now we're at the end of, that 2 year cycle. We've had a lot of successes with that levy. Can you guys kind of talk through that?
Sure. Yeah. I think the first thing, as you mentioned, it is essential to our operations because we have staffing on there, we have curriculum, we have technology, we have coaching and all our athletics and activities are on that as well. But I would hit first thing is the staffing. It allows us to hire extra teachers. And we just talked about class sizes.
Yes.
Class sizes is so important. And that's something we hear from our patrons in our community. We want smaller class sizes. Well, it provides that for us. And I think that was one of the things that allowed us to have smaller class sizes. Otherwise, our classes would be bigger. I think one of the successes we saw from that was just the growth in our achievement. We kind of talked about that last spring in our last podcast, if you remember that. We had a very successful school year last year. The highest reading scores in the history of the district was last spring.
That's great.
I think that absolutely was a testament to the levy that we run. If we don't have that levy, our class sizes get larger.
Yeah. And I think from just a system, we also had the addition of the safety and security, which we were able to add 2 SROs to our security team, which balanced the ability for our SROs to be both at the secondary level and the elementary level. They were spread a little thin before, but now we have more access to our SROs and we really appreciate our partnership with the Nampa Police Department in that as well. We also were able to renovate 2 of our buildings to accommodate our alternative schools and also one of our programs, our special education programs, the Gateways programs. So the levy allowed us to do all of the things that we needed to do as part of those changes to have a better foundation for our staff and our students and for the community in general.
Yeah, the past levy allowed us to be able to hire our coaches for athletics and activities. That is so critical to our kids. We see our kids that are engaged in those tend to be more engaged in school. They have higher grades, higher graduation rates. So those are things that we really want to have. Our kids continue to compete at the highest levels in the state. We had a lot of state kids playing at state levels and competing for those state championships and things. And that's part of a healthy school system. And we saw that. It allows us to update our curriculum as well. Our past levy did that. We had some curriculum adoptions on that so that the actual curriculum, I think people may not understand, the state does not give money for curriculum. That's something that we have to be able to come up with, and for us to be able to get the new materials in for our kids. We got some curriculum adoptions going on right now because of that, and that was really helpful as well from that past levy.
Gregg, I think in addition to that, one of the things is also that to talk about the state doesn't provide money for curriculum. They also don't provide money for maintenance or upkeep of buildings. Yeah. It's something that we have to factor in and utilize the community to help us with those things.
Yeah, they do provide money for facilities now, but when they did that, and it was a good chunk. Admittedly, it was a very good chunk that they gave us for facilities, but they took away the maintenance money. So the day-to-day operations of how to maintain the buildings, there is no funds for that. And that was a big change. So it's definitely something that we have to consider.
So here's a building. Good luck keeping it standing.
Yeah, we have some things we're working on, but yes, there's some new pathways that we have to stretch. Yeah,
and that's what was traditionally the lottery money.
Correct.
That we always hear because everybody keeps saying, "Oh, you get the lottery money." Well, that's kind of not there anymore.
Yeah, so the lottery money is taken and put into that chunk that was meant for building buildings. Essentially, that's where the money that we receive from the state is putting things into the larger renovation of the capital projects that are possible in school districts. But for the day-to-day, for us to fix, the leak in the bathroom, for us to fix the mess that comes from maybe a potential roof. All those types of things are things that are not paid for anymore by that levy money. That levy money went to the actual capital project fund.
And one thing I'm really impressed with, and I don't think this was hit on very much yet, is the technology that we were able to get through the levies or through the levy. And I can't even imagine. Granted, when I was in school 1,000 years ago, everything was different. But at the same time, every kid now has a chance in the Nampa School District has a chance to keep up with any and every other school district in terms of technology, because that's where the world really is going. It's a digital world now, and every single kid, to my knowledge, gets to use their own device and be able to learn more and to just stay current with the times, if you will.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good point, Matt. So, like, for example, in elementary school, what it allows kids to do is we still teach elementary school very, very traditionally in that way, but we're allowed to have kind of group work and stations where kids can be doing work at their level. The teacher can pull other kids back, and kids can rotate through different kind of stations. And, technology allows that kind of teaching that. We show our data, as we mentioned, with our reading skills. That helped our kids improve their reading skills a great deal because teachers now have time to be able to pull kids back while they're also learning at their level. And be able to get the instruction that's designed specifically for them. So that's one example in technology. Obviously, our secondaries have had it for a while, but we live in a digital world. Absolutely, the kids are going to go into the job market are going to have some literacy around technology, and it allows us to keep that up to date, keep our software up to date, and those type of things.
And the cool thing with technology is it's not just a kid when they get done with their worksheet or whatever going to sit in the back of the room and watching YouTube.
Right.
It's the kids are using the technology effectively. They're creating with it.
Yeah.
I still go back to when we were at Sherman together. There was a fourth grader. He knows where I'm going with this. We're learning coding, and he comes up to me and he shows me, he's like, oh, I coded a 3D print. And I looked at him like, no, there's no way. And he's like, no, I coded my iPad to make a 3D print. And he showed it to me. I'm like, that is the coolest thing I've seen. So I'm like, we're going to the office. He thought he was in trouble. And so I walk him down. I go, Mr. Stauffer, you got to see this. And he shows him. And we literally paraded this kid around the school and showing different teachers. And all the teachers are like, this is the coolest thing ever. And I still have no clue how he did it. But the kid knew how to do it on the technology. Had we not had that technology, he wouldn't have been able to express that creativity.
Right. For sure. Yeah, absolutely. The ability to expand learning as well. Yeah. So be able to get instruction at your level, expand learning. It's a huge part of our schools and allows our kids to be successful for sure.
And I think another connection to it is we have noticed going through our curriculum adoptions that were just mentioned, a lot of the curriculum adoptions have components in the curriculum
that's a good point.
that have to be accessed that way.
Yeah.
And again, it goes down to that ability to interact with the student at their level. And that's where some of our curriculum is now being built, which is phenomenal. Before, we didn't necessarily always have those tools as well.
Yeah.
And sorry, one last thing just off that. It also levels the field for a student who came from a different country who doesn't know a lick of English. Now we have the tools to translate what the teacher is talking about in real time into their native language, which is awesome. That's something that my mom, when she came over from Holland, she didn't have.
Yeah.
And, I wish, she could have, but it's a modern day technology that our kids have literally at their fingertips.
Yeah, and we have close to 2,000 English language learners in our district, so it's absolutely something that is needed for our kids.
And one cool thing, I have just a quick story that I just thought was incredibly cool. I went into, I got to remember which one, but an elementary school. I don't remember geez, my memory's going great. I went into,
age, man.
Well, yeah,
it's called
right.
age.
Jeez. Went into one of the classrooms and they were learning about the Oregon Trail, and all the kids had made the combination of just physically doing stuff and putting stuff together, and then digital. They were doing in there perfectly because all the kids had made little wagons, covered wagons, and they were awesome looking. And then they all get around an iPad and they get to follow the Oregon Trail and click on certain areas, be like, where is this? And it shows a big canyon or whatever it was. And they were all just, whoa, it was very cool to see. So that combination of digital and the traditional ways that we've seen also have been
brings
really cool.
learning to life for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Now with the 2023 levy, it was the 14.8 million, but because of the property tax relief, it actually wasn't 14.8 million that we asked from taxpayers. It was actually less than that. I can't remember exactly how much.
Yeah, we got $6.5 million.
$6.5 million. So it was less than that. So can you kind of explain that whole process? Because I know the ballot language for our upcoming levy, which we're going to get to, says one thing, but reality is a whole different thing.
Yeah, I think the simplest way is it's almost like having a product on sale, but you're not able to advertise the sale price. So as you mentioned, our last levy we asked for $14.78 million, and we got 6.4 from the state of Idaho to pay that down. And so that levy did not cost taxpayers that dollar amount. The one we're asking right now, we're asking for 16.8. We're going to get 10.8 from the state of Idaho. So it is not going to cost $16.8 million to our patrons. The state of Idaho is helping pay a big portion of that, and we are so grateful for that. I mean, it helps a huge amount because it benefits our kids, as we just explained, but it also allows that property tax relief. But as you mentioned, Tyler, the laws of Idaho do not allow us to be able to communicate that on the ballot. And so it's really important that folks get the correct information, and maybe we can talk about some places where they can get that information, but they need to understand that when they go, the ballot's going to say 16.8 million, but it is not going to cost that to our patrons and our community. The state of Idaho is going to give us 10.8. So you're looking at more of around a 5.9 million levy that it's going to actually cost, which is lower. It is lower than the current levy right now. So we are asking to replace our levy, and the tax burden is going to be lower because we're receiving more money from the state of Idaho than we did our last supplemental.
And I think that's key. I think one of the things 2 years ago in the 2023 levy is that we were projecting around 70 cents per 100,000. It actually came in about 64 cents per 100,000. So even what we had projected with those reductions, it was even lower because our tax base is expanding with how much growth is happening inside of Nampa. So every time we have additional homes or businesses that are being built, we're distributing that quantity or that ask from the district amongst all of the participants. So we have two things that are working in our favor. We have one, we have the money that is coming from the state, and then two, we have a growing tax base, which helps push that down and shares the burden for everybody. This year, for this proposed levy, it's going to be around 40 cents per $100,000. So per $1,000. So we're even lowering it 20 cents per $1,000 with this upcoming projected levy.
Nice, and that is huge. And to go back to something Tyler was talking about, supplemental, that supplemental part, really these days it's not supplemental. There's a lot of things on the levy that are incredibly necessary, I guess you can say.
Yeah, we just talked about it, right?
Yeah.
More staff and supports for our teachers, curriculum that's updated, technology for our kids so they can be prepared for the future, coaching, athletics, and activities so our kids can be involved and compete in some and learn those life lessons that you can only learn in an activity or an athletic. We have some more security for our schools so we can be safer. I mean, those are all critical things to just the operation of a school system. And I think that's why it is so important that a supplemental levy, that folks get the information they need, that can truly understand it, or reach out to us to ask questions and share that information with their neighbors, share that with their coworkers, share that with their parent, friend, so that everyone is educated when they go to the polls, because the polls will say the ballot is written how it has to be written by the state laws, and it's going to say 16.8 million, but we got to know it's not going to cost that.
And I think that's extremely important. And, you know, on the personal side for me, when I'm at my son's baseball games or baseball practice, there's parents, once they find out what I do for work, they start asking me questions. Oh, I hear you guys are going for another levy. You just want more money. You just want more money. No. I mean, yes, we do want more money, but there's a reason for it. And I talk them through that, and they're like, oh, well, why don't you just tell us that? And I have to remind them we do, and I go through that, and then, we have a good chat about it. And then they're like, oh, so this is not just asking for a bunch of fluff. It's not a whole bunch of wants. And I'm like, no, it's essential. We need it. And they're like, oh, I'm going to go tell my friends. I'm going to go tell, everybody, to go out and vote. And it's like, those are the conversations we need. And I think that part is essential. If you have questions, ask, reach out on, social media, on our Facebook page, me or Matt will respond. Give us a call. Matt will love to talk to you. You know?
Yep. Yeah. No, Tyler, I think you hit the nail on the head. You know, we come every day to benefit kids. I mean, that's our job. That's why I went into education. I wanted to help children. I wanted to help youth, and I need to advocate for them. That's part of my job. And when you talk about the supplemental levy, it does provide the resources for the needs within our community. And I think it's important for us to understand our community is different from other communities. We have higher needs. We have higher poverty. We have higher English language learners, like we discussed. We have higher special ed. And because we have those needs, the dollars that we get from the state does not allow us to be able to funnel that down and provide the resources that those kids need. And so we do need additional resources and additional dollars so that we can hire those teachers, we can have those programs, we can have that curriculum and that technology and those things that those children need, because they need a little bit more in our community. And we've been so blessed because our community has continued to support us over and over. And that's why I love Nampa. I mean, it's a great place. I was just with the mayor, and the mayor was bringing a bunch of community leaders together at Healthy Impact Nampa, and it was a bunch of faith leaders and business leaders, and everyone talked about how much they love Nampa and just the community, about raising a family here and about running a business here, and because it's a great place. It is a great place to do that. It's a great school system, and we've continued to have that support from our patrons. So we're hoping our patrons will get educated and understand about the importance of our levy and kind of get to the polls when it comes to November, because people got to vote. We really need people to vote.
Yeah. And go ahead.
I was going to say, Dr. Russell, when we looked at this, when we put this together, all of these things are coming because our community has asked for these in some shape or form. Yeah. These aren't things that are just being new and dropped in. We've had feedback along the way of saying, hey, we want smaller class sizes. We want safer schools. Mm-hmm. We want our buildings to look better. We want to have a more robust athletic and fine arts system. And so as we've listened to those things, we found that these are the things that are being priced out, and we've tried to put those in here to be, one, responsible, but also give our community what they want according to what you just said, so we can maintain that.
Yeah. And one thing that you just mentioned that we've mentioned before, that even from a non-educational standpoint, that I think and hope everyone can understand, is the importance of smaller class sizes for students, for teachers, for schools in general. You get the most learning, and teachers are able to teach the most when they have smaller class sizes. And that's an important part about this levy, in keeping those class sizes small. And in addition to the many other things that are incredibly necessary and will really help the district thrive even more. So to your point, we thank the community for their support that they've given for so long. And let's keep it going and do what you can, I guess you can say, for lack of a better phrase.
Now, one of the things that, just to let everybody know what we're working on behind the scenes, we do have our webpage. It is up and running. You can find that nampa.school/2025 levy. That is live. It is not a finished webpage. I just want to make that clear. We are going to be constantly adding to that. We are working on some videos to explain and the reasons why in more detail. We're going to be adding FAQs. We're going to be adding a ton of resources on there. One of the important things on the website that you can find right now is a tax calculator, where you can put in your tax, was it
your home property tax?
Your home value,
and
it'll give you an estimate, and just be clear, an estimate for how this will impact your property taxes on there. That's all available for you, on the website. Anything you guys want to add to that part as we kind of?
No, I think it's pretty simple. It's a great process to be able to see. Again, like we talked about, we believe that this is a high estimate. So this, as we've shown in our previous levies, those numbers are actually a little bit lower than that when it comes to fruition. But it gives you a good starting point, so you can look at it and you can see that decrease from where we were 2 years ago to where we were proposing that we'd be here in the next levy.
Yeah, the only thing I would add is just I would ask folks to please just share that information and get it out. I've had so many people. I wouldn't say so many, but I've had quite a few people walk up to me and like, well, I didn't know there was a levy last time, or when we ran our bond, I never heard about the bond. And as much as we try to get that information out, I really think word of mouth is probably the best way to do that. And so that's why I say, again, a coworker you're working with, a family member that, someone you go to church with, whoever it may be, to be able to share that information and say, hey, have you gone on and looked at some of the resources the district has? It's an important election for the schools, and it's important to support our kids and find out that information and go to that, and so that people can make up their minds and decide what they need to do is best for them. But I think those type of calculators and some of the Q&As, I think we're going to be adding to the Q&As as well, would be really important to understand, like, what it's worth, how it's going to help kids, and those type of things.
And I think just another thing that we really need to stress is we are going to have a lot of information out there on this webpage through social media. There's going to be a ton of information all at your fingertips. But if there's still something that any of you are thinking, well, I don't understand that, please reach out. We will answer any questions you have at any time, almost any time, and and we really clear up anything. We want to be as transparent about everything that is on this levy as possible, and make sure that you all know that it is all for the benefit of our community. In the end. All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you. Anything else you want to add before we sign off?
No, I appreciate you guys letting us come on again. Like I said, made it episode 5 of season 2, so I'm feeling really good.
Yeah.
Well, I feel good they actually invited me. This is my first time on this, so this is pretty good.
Oh, wow. First time?
First time.
Oh, we didn't even talk sports.
No, we haven't done that yet, but that's okay.
Yeah. Oh, all right. You throwing in anything?
Well, we got a random question of the.
Oh, we do?
episode.
Oh, good.
Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go crazy.
Well, now you put me on the spot, Matt.
Of course I did.
Man.
How does it feel?
Oh, it feels good.
Oh, okay.
I can tell you who's going to be the AL MVP.
Well, it's Cal Raleigh. I mean, that's simple.
We can debate on that.
Okay.
There's a
And you
6'8"
should.
guy that's a
Yeah.
little bit bigger that will probably win it.
So out of these two teams, I'm going to give you guys two teams. Which team is going to win a professional championship first?
Ooh.
Are we going Cleveland Browns or New York Mets?
Oh, I'll take my first swing because I know where your heart lies on this one. So
that's a tough one.
I will say that it's more probable in the future that the Mets would win the World Series.
I'm going to agree with Cortney, as sad as it is, because I do love Cleveland. My family's from Ohio, and unfortunately, when I was a young kid, I got tied to Ohio teams. Wish I could maybe take that back, but once you make a decision when you're around 8 years old, you're stuck with it.
Yep.
Stuck. Yeah.
And at that time, the Browns were great, and they got very close. They choked in a couple of championship games, but I just don't see it. They continue year after year to draft poorly when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. They have no quarterback, and they still don't have any. They tried and spent hundreds of millions of dollars on a free agent that didn't work out, and they just since they came back for 25 years have not had a quarterback. Until they do, I don't think they got a chance. So New York is a large market. They got the money, and baseball's about buying free agents. Yep. So I would say the Mets probably would have the better chance.
They've got a great lineup. I mean, they brought in Lindor. They've got Alonso. They've got Soto. Their lineup is deep. They get a few pitchers. They could be really in trouble. They got a good back-end closer for the Mets. So
the hard thing about baseball is the playoff system, though.
You got to be hot going in.
A great team can lose in a 3-game series or a 5-game series. It doesn't take much. And I've seen a lot of really good teams choke when they need to. The Dodgers, for example. I mean, they've won, 1 or 2 championships, and they've been incredible in the regular season the last 7-8 years, and they got like 2 championships for it. And I don't know.
Sorry, Matt. We had to bring in the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I was
purposeful there.
That's right.
I noticed that.
I was going to
Well
anyway.
played.
I was going to anyway. I was going to say, if the Cleveland Browns can draft well, they have a chance to win. If they have a chance to win a Super Bowl in the next 9 years, they'll be fine because we have on the Dodgers Shohei for the next 9 years now. So no other NL team is going to be getting to the World Series, obviously. So we'll say I'll say the Cleveland Browns have a better chance because I think they're going to continually even though they have Myles Garrett, who I think is just, he's just one guy on defense and he's just a wrecker. Amazing. I think they'll make some good moves at some point. I don't know what it's going to take, but they're just going to do so bad constantly that they're going to
first pick.
They're going to get first round, and they're eventually going to just do so bad that they have to do good with the best players from the draft. So I think they have a chance to win one in 5 to 6 years.
Wow, that's pretty. Okay,
maybe
we're going to write that down and come back. All right.
We'll see, but as long as Shohei's on the Dodgers, sorry Mets.
We're going to clip that. 5 to 6 years, the Browns are going to win a championship sponsored by Dude Wipes.
by Dude Wipes, there we go. Browns sponsored by Dude Wipes.
What about you?
Oh, Mets, 100%.
Oh,
yeah, easy.
Okay.
He talks about Shohei, but he's hurt every other year. So he made it through this year. Next year, he's going to blow his arm out, so he'll be gone for another year. So.
You know what? If he's coming out of the bullpen like they've been talking about doing, we'll be fine. He's hitting real good.
Yes.
Well, this has been a blast as always, and that does it for episode 5. right?
I don't know.
Yeah, episode 5.
We lost count of the overall, so now we just said season 2, episode 5.
Yeah.
So
All right.
that makes it better. But hey, of course, we want to thank our superintendent, Dr. Gregg Russell, as well as Assistant Superintendent of Operations, Cortney Stauffer. Gentlemen, thanks for being here. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.